There was once a king who had the most magnificent collection of jewels. It was the source of his greatest joy. He prided himself on having collected the best and finest gems in the world. Hour after hour, he would admire and hold each of these gems. One night, the king had a dream. He dreamed that somewhere in the world there was a ring, the most precious ring in the world. This ring had a special power. When a person was sad, it could lift them up. But when a person was exuberant, it would bring them down. The king awoke from his dream convinced that this ring existed somewhere in the world and that he felt compelled to have it. He gathered together all of his advisors and his ministers, and he sent them to look for this ring. He was prepared to pay any price and offer a very handsome reward to the advisor or minister who could find it. All of his trusted advisors set out, sure that they would be the one to locate such a special ring. But in the months that followed, one by one, they returned home empty-handed. But one advisor kept looking. For 2 years, she scoured high and low, near and far, every jewelry shop she could find. Finally, she too was ready to give up. She decided to go into one last store at the end of the street that everybody said was a great jeweler. As she entered the store, an old woman greeted her, and she explained what she was looking for. After just a moment of explaining, the jeweler smiled and said, "I have that ring." The advisor was very excited as the jeweler went to the back of the store, came back, opened up this box, and presented the ring. But her excitement was a little tempered when all she saw was a plain metal ring. The advisor looked and said, "Are you sure?" And the jeweler assured her that this was the ring the king was searching for. So she rushed back to the palace and presented it to the king. He too opened the box with great excitement, but you could see his face fall when he saw the ring. "This is the precious ring I dreamt about for years?" The advisor said the jeweler advised him to look on the inside of the ring at the inscription. It was then that he saw 3 Hebrew words, Gam ze ya'avor, this too shall pass. Immediately, the king came to realize that this ring indeed was magical. When he was sad, he could look upon it, and it would remind him that this too shall pass, that the dawn always follows the darkness of night. And when he was experiencing true joy, he would be reminded that this too shall pass. And though he would be saddened at the thought, it would allow him to take a moment to appreciate the joy that he was feeling. At this, the king realized that the ring was indeed the most valuable in the world. Gam ze ya'avor, this too shall pass. 3 simple words, 4 in English, but a far deeper meaning than the short sentence implies. How can remembering and living by this phrase enhance our lives? Each of us encounter struggles along our path of life. Some are minor, some are major. When we are dealing with a major struggle, it can seem like the dark days will never end. We feel alone amidst the chaos around us. It is in these times that it is important to remember that this too shall pass, that our days will get better, and that we will not be in this situation forever. Knowing that our situation will ultimately resolve can be a source of strength and hope. It can give us the courage to move through the despair and work to regain order in our lives. Throughout the Bible, God reminds us, even in our darkest moments, God does not abandon us. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch teaches us, when we read Leviticus 26, "Yet even then, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject them nor spurn them so as to destroy them, annulling my covenant with them, for I, Adonai, am their God." God is reminding us that even when it seems like all hope is lost, God is still there. Like the magic ring, the Bible, for us, keeps us going when hope seems lost. What about the other power, to temper our joy? Why is this a good thing? Shouldn't we want to experience every moment of our joy to the fullest? Often when we are so immersed in the good times that we imagine it will never end. But alas, we know that it does. This too shall pass. How differently would we approach our times of joy if we kept in mind the fleeting nature of it? Would we take an extra moment to let the beauty and the joy of that moment wash over us? Whenever I work with wedding couples or B'nai Mitzvah students, I always encourage them to take a moment during the ceremony to look out into the kahal, into the community, and to realize that everybody there is there because they love them and they support them. I remind them to take a moment from their joy, from the awesomeness of that day, to let the beauty and the power of everyone present wash over them. Sometimes we get so immersed in our joy that we actually forget to experience it. How often have we come back from a celebratory event and said it was a bit of a blur, I was having so much fun, it just went by so quickly. Reminding ourselves that the special and fleeting moments of our lives will pass can sadden us, but it can also deepen the joy of the experience as it heightens our appreciation of it. This week, we read the last two portions in the book of Numbers, Matot Maseh. In it, Moses recounts the Israelites' journey from Egypt to the banks of the Jordan where they currently are. In a very long list, he meticulously lists all 42 stops on their 40-year journey. Each place is specifically named, and it's named twice, as a place they arrived and as at a place they encamped. Why does Moses do this? Surely there's a few of those places we would rather forget. But by reminding us of the entire journey, the good, the bad, and even the ugly, Moses is reminding us that there will inevitably be ups and downs on our journey, and that we are the sum of all the parts of our lives, that we are who we are because of all of the experiences that we have gone through. Like the ring, Moses wants to be sure that we remember the journey to freedom and independence as one that was filled with the highest of highs, like receiving the Torah, but also the lowest of lows, like the betrayal of the golden calf. But also like the magic power of this ring, we should always remember that nothing is permanent. Our strife, but our joy will also pass. And I would argue that while the ring is indeed magical in that it can lift up one who is down and ground one who is high, I think its true gift is far more powerful. It can change our perspective on life. For when we go through life with the awareness that things will ultimately change, it gives us hope in times of struggle, but it deepens our experience of joy. And that's the true power of the ring. Shabbat Shalom.